This call is being recorded.
Anybody there? Hello? 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 Hello, Lily, you there? Can you hear me? I hear you. Hello? Anybody there? Hello, hello? This must be, I think I can almost hear something. This may be a bad connection from my end. I'm going to redial and see if that works.
What?
Hello? Hello?
All right, hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing? Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better.
Okay, I'm sorry I had to try a second call. I evidently had a bad connection.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're feeling better. I had a little. What kind of bug did you have? I had a bug this week too. Didn't we?
I think it was just a really bad cold. I'm not very sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, in any event, they say when you have a cold, if you drink plenty of fluids, get plenty of sleep, take the right medicine, it'll be over in 10 days. And if you don't do anything, it'll be over in 10 days.
Okay. Yeah.
A little old cold joke, but that's the way that goes. I'll try to go easy on you because I know you're still recovering. Where were we? Tell me more about. I have barely mentioned her in the draft. Chris, who helped out with the with the design and who helped you go shopping for you with your mom for your dress for the CNN ball. Could you tell me more about her?
Yeah, she was very tall, but I don't know if that's just from my perspective because I'm 5'2". And she was very tall. She had red hair, and she was really nice. I remember I described her as my age with a car and a credit card. And
she worked with your father. Pardon me, or she. I just see these glancing references in all the notes, and I'm not even quite sure who she is, unless I've missed something and poring over all the various notes. Is she a colleague of your father's or a friend of the family, and both?
Yeah, she was both. She worked sort of at the same space as my dad. So and she helped us a lot with the cuts. So yeah.
And she is her last name is, just to double check I have it, the spelling of her last name?
Her last name is Bue, so it's B-U-E.
B-U-E. Okay, I have that correctly. And we'll go back to going over the CNN part again. When you first heard about it, then they came out and interviewed you in your room and interviewed your father and grandfather, I understand. What kind of questions did they ask? Were they fairly standard? Anything surprising about the questions they asked? Because this is almost settling into a routine for you. Somebody new from someplace new saying, "How'd you get the idea?" Da 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 da. And anything particular stick out in your mind?
What interview are you talking about again? I'm really sorry.
The kinds of questions they were asking you, were they fairly standard questions when they came out with the camera crew?
What interview are you talking about? I'm really sorry.
CNN Heroes.
CNN. Most of them were pretty standard. There was this one that not a lot of people asked, like, because for the CNN Heroes, it was kind of like a feel good. It is kind of a feel good show. So so it was kind of like they also asked, like, when you get the money, what do you want to do with it? And I remember my response was like it was like something like, I want to donate some of it to Parkinson's research and some of it in to invest it into the company. I think that was my answer. I believe so, but
I believe I recall your. In fact, I believe that showed up on the transcript of the show. I have the video and the transcript of the show, and that particularly showed up. Well, money reminds me, when they put that walking around money in your hand when you arrived in New York City. What'd that go to? Was that just a reward? Did you? I hope you got yourself some kind of treat, or did it go into research and development? Or
I didn't get anything at the awards. It was more just like this. I got the experience, first of all, because they basically paid for everything for me to fly to New York. They gave us like $300 to spend, which was hilarious for my dad, because they're giving like this 12-year-old $300.
Did that go in your savings account or research and development? You should have bought yourself some little treat with some of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was mainly for, I believe they mainly gave it to us for, like, if I need to get my hair done, or if I need to, like, buy, or if I need to buy, like, something like a dress, but we already kind of had a dress, and we already had an appointment set up. But I honestly can't remember what it went to. So that's something you're probably gonna have to ask.
Well, everything eventually goes to research and development. What kind of meal did they serve at the museum? Did you pay much attention to what you're reading? Little details like that help a person imagine, if you remember.
I remember the first course was this salad with some sort of like mozzarella dressing, like, ball on top of it. The second course was like, I think it was like a little, like, maybe like a fillet, like a little
first
steak
class
and
all the way.
Yeah, and like like a steak and like some sort of like potato. I think it was like mashed potatoes, and some sort of other vegetable on the side. And then for dessert, I think it was just kind of like a plethora of things. It was just kind of like a bunch of like tiny, like.
So a nice standard mass banquet meal.
Yeah.
Higher level and all that. What did you think of the museum?
It was cool, yeah. It was.
Did you get to look at any exhibits, or was it just business in and out and do the whole big deal?
We didn't really see a lot of exhibits just because they kind of wanted to just get us down there, but we were in the room. I think it was with the giant, like, whale and everything. And,
yeah, it was a whale room that
they
had the function in.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw we saw the dinosaur, because that was like the front with like the red carpet and everything, and then we were in the whale room for basically all of the award show.
Speaking of dinosaurs, I was going to ask you how, well, at least from a quick visit, how it stacked up against the Field Museum, our Natural History Museum.
Huh?
I've heard we have better dinosaurs, but
they were big dinosaurs. Again, I'm sure anybody would say that they're big, but then again, that could just be perspective from me, like being a little bit over 5 feet. But yeah.
And who were you seated with there? With
Um,
on either side of you, just other heroes? How did they have that set up? Was there a table for the heroes and the young wonders, or?
no, actually, they just kind of like mixed like everybody with everybody. So they mixed like the young wonders and the heroes with like different celebrities. Like, my dad sat next to I believe John Lennon, like for like the CNN broadcaster, and I sat next to Sheryl Crow, which I had no idea who she was until afterwards. My dad
generational thing, yeah.
Yeah, my dad knew who she was.
Right. Well, you knew who Benedict Cumberbatch was.
Yeah, I do. I saw the yeah, yeah, I saw the Imitation Game and Sherlock. So.
Do you remember how the weather was in your day and a half in Manhattan? Was it nice weather, or was it raining all the time, or?
It wasn't raining, but it was definitely cold.
Yeah, that's right. This would have been in I'm just going to skip around on you. I keep reminding. I've got to write your father a note. I've been trying to find. I don't know if you people have it archived. I'm about to call over to my friends at BBM. The initial CBS story, the BBM story, the first one, in which your grandfather was featured. I'm having real trouble. We had 2 CBS stories, basically. Well, you had more. You had a bunch because they also covered you being named in my researches. They covered you, but and I don't have it in front of you, but the first time CBS came out, the first time CBS did you, going back, they had something. And I'm having trouble finding that one. I'm hoping you have it archived. I'm going to check with my friends at BBM if you don't. But I'm having trouble finding it on the internet. I think I found it, but it came out. I'm not very good. I'm not very good with technical things, but every once in a while, sometimes you pull something up and it's just a whole bunch of code, pages of code instead of what it's supposed to be, and that's what I get. So I'm going to check with your dad and see if, or do you know if you have that archived?
We probably do.
That video, that's one I lack, and I'd really like at that point to quote, because they from my understanding of reading through all the various notes and such, that he did have something to say, and I'd like to get him more into it. And jumping around, let's jump to the other side of the world, to Jingdezhen. When you took a break it was called the People's Park, Zoological Park, the place that didn't have the tiger available. The tiger was back home. Was it a pleasant park? I mean, was it crowded? Was there a lot of walkways? Nice place to sit on a bench? Just any kind of physical description. I'm having trouble tracking down photographs of it. I know it's there, but it's sparse imagery on the internet, so I'm trying to get a feel.
There actually wasn't a lot of people there.
Have you been to the Lincoln Park Zoo?
Yes.
Or the Brookfield Zoo?
Yeah.
Was it like that? I mean, those have buildings and pleasant spaces with green and flowers and trees, and you can go in and see animals. Was it that kind of place?
No, it wasn't really. It wasn't really like that because they didn't have like a bunch of buildings in the zoo, and there wasn't a lot of people there either. So, yeah.
So it was more like a park with the occasional animal exhibit.
Yeah.
And pleasant. You mentioned, and I'm having a little trouble with my transcript and my tape from way back. You mentioned birds. They had a lot of birds. What, birds on the loose, birds in the trees, or bird exhibits? It got garbled at that point, and I just see the word bird.
Yeah, no, I think there probably were. I can't really remember a lot right now. I think there were.
Now, this has been quite a, I would say, to use a metaphor I will not use because it's used too much, but this whole adventure was kind of a roller coaster, ups and downs, and you think you've been through all the nice surprises and such, and people interviewing you and your father and your family, and then it seems to calm down and, settle into routine, and suddenly, bang, you're a CNN hero, and then it seems to calm down.
Yeah.
And a little bit, and then suddenly you're going to the White House, and you just never know. But just the wear and tear of it. Father made reference, you've made reference to it. Design, the manufacture, the packaging, the interviews and interviews and interviews. You undergoing quite. Your father comments in his notes somewhere that one thing he really, among the things he really admires you for is that you get all worn down, through a day, as we all will, if a lot is going on, but you manage to wake up fresh the next day, and face a new day. But there were times when I just want to talk a little more. There were times in all the wear and tear that you sort of, at least in the back of your head, had just about enough of this. Or were there? I can imagine there were.
Yeah.
Where not another interview. Oh no, not this. I've got to do my math homework, or not this. I was going to do this. I get reading between the lines that it got pretty wearing at the point of this story about the time of the NPR interview. And maybe you could tell me a little bit more about what was going on in your mind and how you felt about the whole thing. This is in the time leading up to the NPR interview.
The NPR interview?
Yeah, National Public Radio with Scott Simon, I believe. Yeah. Good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to remember which one that was, because I want to think it was the one where I was at Navy Pier, and that's what we did. But I'm not very sure.
That would have been public radio. Would have been. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, that would have been. It was. Yeah. Well, he wasn't there. It was. I do not have this in front of me, and things run together. But he was gonna do it as a phone interview, but you'd go to Navy Pier to do it. Wasn't that it? He wasn't there in person.
Yeah, I just found some pictures. That yeah. Yeah, so now I remember.
But he wasn't there.
Who?
Scott Simon, the person who interviewed you.
I don't think so. I don't really remember who. I don't really remember names that well.
Or somebody else interviewed you and he did the report. I'm skipping back. There's some things some holes I'm filling in, and the NPR is a little weak, although I have, see if I can find it. Yeah, Scott Simon interviewed you and your father. It became.
Yeah.
Oh, at one point, I liked you got so busy you had a phone put in your father put a phone in your bedroom to make it a little easier on you.
Yeah.
Actually, I have this quotation from the transcript about how he talks about how to your father how this makes him so proud. Maybe this brings back the interview. He said, I've seen her get in front of 100 adults and pitch this at these maker events, and so that's the big thing to me. It's definitely helped her blossom. Wouldn't you say so, Lily? And you say, mm-hmm. But you're right in the middle of. But blossoming is hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had, I haven't gone into it. I could. You had trouble, when I've gone to Navy Pier a couple of times to be. Well, actually, I used to work for NPR a little bit after I retired from the Sun-Times, and just I had not been to their headquarters there before. Not easy to find. You had that problem too, right?
Yeah, we had some issues trying to find the place.
Way down the pier, and the parking is strange. And I remember myself when I was going down to talk to the people at BEZ Radio, which is they're in.
Yeah, we were having some issues. I remember we just kind of kept walking, and we just kind of hoped that we would find it soon enough. So we just kind of kept
huge,
walking.
and you can keep walking forever and ever. Yeah, and it is. My recollection, it is far down the line in Navy Pier.
Yeah.
Over the left.
Yeah, it is.
Was Scott Simon who's interviewing you? But do you remember if it was on the phone or if he was there? It's a guy with a mustache.
I don't really remember. I can't really put together names and faces that well, honestly.
But were you interviewed by someone sitting there with you live in the studio, or were you interviewed with headphones and somebody talking in a voice from Washington D.C. or wherever he is at the moment?
I'm pretty sure someone was in
they must run together. Pardon me?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone was in the room with me and my dad, but you might have to check in with.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be checking in with
dad.
your dad. I'm on the home stretch here, at least of the basic main rough draft, and I've got. I have a few questions about that, but I'm curious. Size aside, I mean, CNN is bigger than WGN, or some of these were huge news outlets, and some not so huge. They vary. But was there any one interview? And again, I'm asking, these must run together. I can tell how. Just to make you feel better, I was on a book tour not too many years ago, and just traveling around, interview after interview after interview. And if you asked me to recount specific interviews, I'd be at sort of a loss, because they all sort of run together except the things. But is there any one particular, not because it was so huge, like the CNN and White House were the biggest deals, I think, media-wise, but any one interview that really stuck out as really fine, that they really got it, that it was your favorite interview? In particular.
I guess my favorite interview would have to be the one where Bill Nye interviewed me, because that was just kind of like a surreal experience.
Well, of course.
Where you,
Why didn't I think of that?
It's like where you spend like your entire grade school education watching this dude talk about like chemical reactions, and then it's like the guy is interviewing you. So that's probably my favorite and probably the most memorable.
It was like I was about to cite something that you would have no idea. I was about to say it was like me as a kid meeting. Have you ever heard of somebody called Mr. Wizard?
I don't think so.
Back when I was a child, the Bill Nye of our time on TV explaining science, it was called he had a name which slips my mind, but he was known on TV as Mr. Wizard because he'd be doing all these cool experiments. So that was so there was a Bill Nye before Bill Nye.
Yeah.
Your dad wouldn't be old enough to remember Mr. Wizard either. I think Mr. Wizard was a big deal in the 50s. We'll go back to CNN. Going back over my notes, some things get a little garbled. As you said, you'd been to New York a few times, family in Brooklyn. But and there just wasn't much sightseeing, or do you remember anything in particular about any? Not that you went to the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State Building or anything like that, but I mean, just a street you walked down, or just any particular sight you saw that sticks in your mind?
Well, like while I was in New York for just vacation, or like while I was there?
I'm sorry, on the CNN trip.
Oh, so just like in general?
Yeah, just a walk you took with your dad, or just anything in particular outside of the event. Or not. I know it's hectic time. You're there for an event, and there's a lot going on, and sometimes when I go to cities, when I was assigned stories in other places, and places I hadn't been to before, I'd go in and spend 2 or 3 days there. But I'd be so intent on covering the particular story I was doing, I'd leave and I'd say, I really haven't been there. I didn't have a chance to see the place. Was it that kind of trip?
Well, I mean, probably my favorite thing that I saw just in general was because I remember the first time I went to New York, my dad and we were supposed to go to see The Lion King on Broadway, but our flight was delayed, so he bought tickets to another show last minute, which happened to be Wicked, and I saw it, and that's probably my favorite because I love musicals.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that show before, and you liked it.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
It's too bad you're not a hero this year. You go see Hamilton.
Yeah, and I just got tickets to see.
Oh, you're going to go
Hamilton.
see the Hamilton that's here?
Yeah, I got tickets to see Hamilton in Chicago, and I'm so excited.
Excellent. Oh, I haven't met anybody, and I haven't seen a critic. I haven't seen anybody who didn't like Hamilton a lot. I've rarely seen such unanimity about a show. My dad's fiance's boss actually just saw it, and he said that he didn't know that they were rapping in it, or that like the cast would be so diverse, even though that's like what got so much hype about it. So well, I hope you enjoy that.
I'm sure I will.
And then did you and go over again? I garbled the notes, and sometimes these recordings get a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
Or I'm a Benedict Cumberbatch fan myself. Did you meet him at least briefly, shake his hand or anything like that?
I didn't really meet him. I saw him on stage, so that was kind of enough for me. My dad is sort of out of touch with pop culture, so
Just like me.
So there's like this story that we like to tell, and it's like we actually got there was like this intern that was showing around like all the Young Wonders, like where to go or like where we would be sitting at like at the award show. And then so we're assuming that like this intern, like she didn't like really like, we're assuming like something went wrong and like she was kind of like ushering us like everywhere. So and we and we actually accidentally got into Kathy Griffin's green room. So we took the opportunity to take a picture, except my dad posted on Facebook and tagged her as Kathy Lee Gifford, which he later learned that was an entirely different person. So
generational again too. Did she say anything in particular to you, or just a nice greeting and a quick selfie? Not selfie, but photo. Just sort of like a nice greeting. It's like I just kind of told her like yeah, I'm a young wonder, and then like I asked her to take a picture. She was delighted to. So yeah, she's a nice lady. Well, that's always fun. And Chris Bew, going back, I'm sorry to flip around on you before I got notes spread out here all over. Chris Bew, who we talked about earlier, she worked with your father at. He's done work with a number of places. Which place? He has his own, but he also does. Pardon me. Which place? Which place employs her? Would you remember the name?
I can't exactly remember the names.
I'll find that in the notes. So the notes are voluminous, and I think I recall now a place I hadn't looked. Okay, skip around again. When you had the showcase party at second, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm just looking for something briefly. I'll try not to hold you up. When you were launching at Catalyst and they had that kind of party, showcase party.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people were getting together to show their inventions, ideas, and you decided to make that kind of your launch party. Your dad brought some champagne and cider. Remember that?
I'm sorry. What?
Catalyze?
What are you talking about?
Catalyst?
Wait.
It was just after you just started your new plastic line and Kickstarter for that, and at a place called Catalyst, which is that company that helps people with their ideas and making them into something.
Catalyze? You mean Catalyze?
Catalyze, yes. And there was the show there where people would have. I'm trying to see how many people were there that day. Was about 200 people wandering about, talking to the inventors. You had your display set up.
Yeah. I don't remember having a display set up. Did my dad tell you that? Because I don't remember.
No, yeah, it was in the notes that people had. Some people went up on the stage and gave a brief presentation, but it was a big room and it was just kind of a gathering of people and new ideas and inventions to go on display. And you had something out. People just had little tables and just something out. According to there were about 10 inventors there, about 200 people.
Okay.
Does that ring any bells for you?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't remember us presenting anything. I just remember going.
Oh, okay. I'll recheck my notes, but it implied that you put up, you were one of 10 or so inventors there to show off.
Hmm.
Make it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I don't really remember.
Well, I will recheck my notes on that.
Yeah, you might want to ask my dad about it because he'd probably remember.
I'm gonna
that better than I
warn
would.
Warn your dad that at some point I would like to have you go over a few things. I say about a week or 10 days I'll have the rough thing, but there are holes.
Yeah.
But I have a little thing saying dialogue here, trying to remember, if possible, what was said at a certain point and all that sort of thing. Yeah, catalyze. Yeah, it was, if I recall, and I don't think I can find it in the notes in quick order now because there's so many of them, but if I recall it, it was because you decided to sort of make it a launch party of some kind. You were just starting the new Kickstarter and all that. I have a call coming in that I have to answer. I don't know how to do switch hook. Can I recall this number real quick in 2 minutes? It's my son.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to hang up on you and call you back shortly.
All right.
2 minutes.